Okay, we are live and super excited to chat today. And I've got something very specific on my mind. How are you, Jandre?
I'm so lekker, Magriet. How are you doing?
That is great. But how can you be so lucky at this time of the year? Because that's
I
actually what I
mean,
want to go into.
you know how this time of year goes. We've had this conversation so many times. The best time of the year. Um, no, it's awesome. Just good shit. There's just good things all around. I think the more you focus on positive things, the more you actually start to see it in your life. And I think I wish just more people would want to put a positive lens on their perspective of reality. So yeah, it's going really well. How's it going with you? And what do you have on your mind?
Very, very well. So, for those of you who are watching, please go over to the comments and say hi. Remember, you can ask your questions. And I do have something very specific on my mind, something that I've really been thinking about the last week. And I've been going back to a time in my life where I was actually at my lowest point and what I did to get me out of it. And the reason why I went there is because I feel as in life, in general life as well, but also in business, you grow and then you get to a point, and that point that you get to that used to be your goal from long ago now becomes your comfort zone, now becomes the thing keeping you from taking the next step. So basically, it's almost as if we constantly go back into a place of stagnation, into a place where we can't see clear, where we can't see the future, where we don't have a vision for our business, and really understanding that this happens to all businesses. Whether you're a small business, whether you're a big business, had lots of growth. So what I actually been sort of like thinking about this week, really meditating on, is going back to a time when I felt completely overwhelmed and I felt like I don't know what to do. I don't have any money in the bank. I'm struggling to get my business up and running. As a mom and as a woman, I have so much on my plate. And I just really felt at the lowest point. So I want to talk about the things that I did then to help me get out of it. So, and this is just what you said about how important it is to be positive. So the first thing that really helped me in this time was to get a vision of what future I want. Now, I've been thinking about the fact that we are now here this time of year. It's Black Friday almost. It's end of the year. We just go, 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 go. We want to grow our business, but um, we don't, we want to be successful, but we don't show up as that person. We don't show up as the successful person. We think that things has to be in place first before we can have that. And I realized just once again, you cannot grow your business to the next level. You cannot go into this season if you do not have a vision of what you want for the future, if you do not have a vision for yourself and for your business. And that is what helped me when I was completely broke. I was totally overwhelmed. I was a worn out mom to a place where I could build a really successful business. But once again, for me to go to the next level, I have to do that again. And why it's so important now is because it's such a busy time. Everyone is overwhelmed. When you get to the school, guys, if you are watching, please tell us where you're watching from. When you go to school to pick up your kids, or you see someone, or you talk to your employees, what is everyone saying? Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it's the end of the year. I cannot believe the year went past so fast. I cannot believe it. And everyone is just spreading that overwhelm and that negativity. Like, it's almost like yesterday I was at school waiting for my daughter, and thinking about the small talk that we make. And I was really trying hard not to be pulled into these conversations about, oh my gosh, everything is, it's every, like, this is what we do because that is our comfort zone. This is where we want to be. So actually, making a point of the fact that this is not the person I want to be. This is not the kind of business I want to run, where everything overwhelms me, where I don't have, I can't even get out of bed. So for me, what really, really helps, and that's why I've been thinking back about how I initially got out of that, is to really go and think, what is it that I want for myself and for my business? What is the kind of business I want? What is the kind of business owner I want to be? What does it look like in the way that I talk, in the way that I talk to my friends, in the way that I show up to my community and I show up to my business? And it is just amazing, like when you start to implement those things, like, this is what I want. I don't want to be the person that's always negative and overwhelmed. I don't want to be the person that is talking with the other moms about how overwhelming school is, because my one child is writing exam, the other one is still in the primary school, but this is just all they can talk about. So yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about today. And if any of you are here and you feel like this resonates with you, please let us know.
Yeah, I think so what do you want to talk about, really? I mean, you've shared your story. So what's the question? Is there a question?
About,
Or do you just want other people to
no, I think I
share
just
their...
want people to think, to before we think, I want to grow my business, I need to make more money, just the fact that the way we show up for our business is the starting point before any of the rest. The way we show up in this time, and also because yes, we want to know how to grow our business, we want to know how to make more sales. But if you are going to show up as that overwhelmed person, as that person being negative, it's just not going to work. Like, all the tips in the world is just not going to have a, it's maybe going to grow your business, but you're not going to be at a place where you feel peaceful and fulfilled.
So I had a Lizette Volkswagen on the show, on our podcast show last week, and she's the human lie detector. She's amazing. She's a life coach, a human behavioral specialist. And we had some really cool conversations, and I think that episode is going to launch today. But the bottom line is that you have to fix yourself before you fix your business. And you can replace the word business with anything: partnership, marriage, family, name it what you want. You have to fix yourself before you fix X. For me and you, it's most cases business, because that's what we love. But that goes for anything in life, because it all starts with you. And if you don't agree with that, then I think that you don't really understand how the universe works. Because in the Bible and all these religious texts, it will say, like, as within, so without, as above, so below. What you reap, you shall sow. The Buddhists talk about karma. And when you start to understand what that all means, Jesus said, what you sow, you shall reap. And I just literally had this conversation today. It all starts with you energetically first, on the inside. Life is a reflection of that on the outside. And what I'm hearing you say is that we get lost in the reflection of the mirror, and we're not taking control, or we actually completely forget that we are the person in the mirror. And we so desperately want life to smile while we're standing in this mirror, but it's not going to smile before you do. Because that's how mirrors work. Like, you have to smile first before the mirror is going to smile back at you. And I think when you start to understand that, and if you had to look at your life, all the times when it felt like you were making a mental shift or an actual level of progress out of a crappy situation, you will start to note that it started in here first, because at some point you realized this is not what I want. And then at some point you said to yourself, wow, I've got, maybe in your case, I've got so much to be grateful for. Or, it's a element of, I can potentially take the next step. Let me take that step and just see what happens. And that level of energy, that excitement from the latter example, and that gratitude from the former example, those are all positive energies that will start to attract more positive shit into your life. And if you're a business owner listening to this today, I think if you've got less than 10 people working for you, then if things are not going the way that you wanted to, then you are 100% the problem. And I've had this rant many times on the show. You have to take accountability for it, because your insecurities, your perspectives, your flawed way of looking at life, your trust issues, your emotional triggers, your lack of rational thought, all of that is most likely, actually 100% manifesting in your business. And you have to fix yourself first before life will start to change.
So Karina is saying, hello, Karina. Nice to have you here. Absolutely beautifully said. Live, love, laugh. That's a nice name. Watching from Centurion. So absolutely feel similar as a new entrepreneur. It's really scary starting out after 16 years in a corporate environment. Quite intimidating most of the days. So I can just share with you, because I can 100% relate. So it's almost like when you are in a corporate environment, you're climbing a ladder and you're climbing a ladder, and then only to get to the top and see that ladder was against the wrong wall. So why it's so scary is because suddenly there's so many changes. So when I moved from corporate to becoming an entrepreneur, it was such a scary thing that actually it's easier to just like, I felt like I wanted my freedom and I wanted to reach my dream, but it's actually just easier working for a boss because you've got that security. It is a very strange feeling to be an entrepreneur. And what happens a lot of the time, we operate out of fear. So especially in that time when you're just starting out, it's so important to protect your energy and to protect your mind and the things you take in. I remember once walking in the mall at 11 o'clock on a Monday morning, and I felt so weird. Like, how can I be the freedom of being an entrepreneur scared me. But yeah, so I can totally relate with how scary that is. But that is why it's so important to have something. So it's almost like there's this one story is, how do you move a donkey forward? You got to have a stick and a carrot. And I always feel like my stick is, I don't want to go back to that place where I had to leave my kids at home. I had no really say over my time. I was literally a slave building someone else's dream, which is maybe great for some people, but for me, that is really not what I wanted, because my family time for me it's a high value. And then my carrot is really those dreams that I want to achieve and really feeling fulfilled in my job. So in difficult times, it's important to feel like, what is the thing I don't want to go back to? And normally there's quite an emotional attachment to it. So for me, there's a very big emotional attachment to the fact that I had to leave my kids at home. And for some people, that's fine. But for me, that is not what I wanted for my life. And that's why it's so important to know, as an entrepreneur business owners, what are your values? What is it that you want? And then the next thing, now it comes to, okay, so if this is what I want, how am I going to take control? How am I going to implement systems. And this is something that Jandre is specifically good at. I see at the beginning, someone said they went through your application and it's just so beautifully, like so well, all your systems. And why do you need those systems? Because that is what's going to give you the structure and the freedom to actually reach your dreams. And that comes back to what I said in the beginning of going from being in that overwhelmed state to taking control, to what am I spending my time on? What am I spending my energy on? Am I part of negative talks, or am I spending energy to really on my personal growth so that I can show up as a better leader to my team so that they can serve the customers better? Yeah, so I think it's just this time of the year that really excites me. And I just see, like you said earlier, there's so many opportunities, but I also just see so many people that is so negative and so overwhelmed this time of year. And I just want everyone listening to this to just know that it really depends on you. Like Jandre said, if there's something wrong in your business, you have to go and ask yourself, what is wrong with me and how can I fix that?
Self-reflection and self-discovery is really what it's all about. But I think it's not just about entrepreneurship, really, or starting a business. I mean, I always say that I'm not really entrepreneurial. I'm a business owner. I'm not really an entrepreneur. In fact, if the previous job allowed me to, I probably would have stayed there, second in command, because it was a really good job and I loved what I did. And I had the freedom to express myself the way I wanted to until I didn't. So I think if you boil it down to it's how do we express ourselves? Because that's what everybody wants to do. I think if we break this down on a very granular level, then you start to understand that the common issue is that people can't fully express themselves because of two reasons. They're not in an environment that will allow them to do that, or they have their own issues that is limiting them to do that. And I think starting a business is a way of expressing yourself. I had a conversation with someone the other day. It's like, I want to start a business. I was like, why? Why do you want to start a business? In fact, I would advise you not to, because you're happy where you are. You fulfilled it where you are. And then she said, the last 2 years, and I probed, and she said, the last 2 years, I've not been able to express myself because there's too much hierarchy and corporate culture coming into the business. And I said to her, I can relate with that. So my goal has always been to at least try to the best of my potential to build a business that wouldn't limit people to do that. Because there are a lot of people who, every single person just wants to fully express themselves. And there are people who want to do it within a company, and there are people who want to do it outside of certain business, companies and do it for themselves, because that's their fullest expression, is to take their creativity and build something so that someone else can taste that creativity or look at that creativity or appreciate that creativity, and then they feel fulfilled. So it's really asking yourself, what do you really want? And I think, Nydia said it there. It's like, it's hard to grow when you don't know what you want, because the road to nowhere, really, that's exactly where you're going to end up. If you don't know where you're going, then you're on the road to nowhere, which is, sorry, you're not going to end up where you need to, because you haven't created that vision in your head, like you said. And I think we need to ask ourselves two questions. When you are feeling a certain level of overwhelm or frustration or pain or whatever it may be, then it's really asking yourself, what is the issue? Is it me? Is it self-reflection exercise? Is it me that actually have to start thinking about what can I be better at? And then when you start to do that, you get more clarity. The more you peel the layers of the onion, the more you get clarity of what you actually want to do with your life too, whether that is finding a new career or starting a business, sorry. And I think some people just don't know who they are. And that's really the bottom line of my conclusion is people don't know what they want because they don't know who they are.
That's so true. That is so true. Yeah, so Karina is saying, I never want to wear uniform ever again. So for me, that is a very big thing that's helped me, that's really pushed me through the difficult times.
My
Because
question would be why. So you see, there's emotional triggers attached to that uniform.
Mm,
You see what I'm saying? It's like it might
mm,
not even be the issue of the uniform. It might be other emotional triggers to attach to the uniform. The thing is, like, we don't peel the layers of the onion deep enough. So we can
mm,
easily say, yeah, that sucks. It's like, wait, why does it suck? Maybe for Karina, and she's welcome to share her story, it's a limitation of expressing who she really is. Or maybe at that job, the culture was poisonous and they made
mm,
people focus so hard on uniforms and name badges and shit like that that it became actually something that is just not enjoyable. Or for some reason, she thinks that the uniform doesn't is not associated with her. She doesn't want to be associated with a uniform because it doesn't agree with her core principles as a human being. Because maybe the uniform represents something else, and she is, representing. So she says, "Uniform, no
uniform
freedom."
is okay.
I don't
That's
know. I see this. That's the again. If we can unpack this, is like you going back into the emotional trigger. You assume that a uniform means no freedom, but then at the same time, rugby players wear uniforms. And nothing was more exciting than to put a rugby jersey on for me, which is a uniform. So it's like we just have such limited perspectives because we don't do the inner work to truly understand what our feelings are actually meaning to ourselves. We immediately associate uniform with lack of freedom because that is what it is at the superficial level. But then I look at rugby and I go,
mm,
nothing made me prouder to put on that uniform. And it wasn't even a Springbok jersey. It was just a random club. It was a random school. It was a random, you know what I'm saying? But it
mm,
meant something to me because it was associated with my core values. So let me tell you what, I will wear a uniform every single day if it's connected to my core values, and it will not
mm,
limit my freedom. So it's like we have these limited point of views. I'm not saying that Karina is having that. I'm just saying like we speaking superficial, and what we should do is go, wait, why do I feel this way? What happened? How is it happening? And then you get deeper to the root cause of the issue.
mm. So she says, I was underappreciated, underpaid, and bored. I never want to feel like that again for my mental state
Well,
as well.
you see what
Mm,
I'm saying? Got nothing to do with the uniform. We're so easy to blame superficial excuses and the top layer excuses. I call it the top layer excuses. It's like, I never want to wear a uniform ever again. It's like, well, I mean, I wouldn't mind wearing a uniform if it's 100% in association with my culture and who I am as a human being. Then nothing would make me prouder to wear a uniform because that uniform will be an expression of who I am. But the thing is like, if you can't express who you are, you're limiting yourself. And then on top of that, if you're not appreciated, that becomes a completely different conversation because that now leads to self-worth.
mm,
So we can see how business owners need to start thinking about their lives and their businesses. We need to do the inner work. We need to fix ourselves first and truly understand the core reason why we feel a specific way about a specific topic. Why are you scared to get screwed over? Why are you insecure about not being a good leader? Why are you insecure about, why do you have trust issues with this or that? And it all boil down to something that happened to you, usually trauma in some way, shape, or form. And then we just associate a top layer excuse with the actual problem. So we never really fix the problem, but we just avoid the top layer excuse, which is the uniform. So now Karina is going to avoid a uniform in a hypothetical world. I know Karina is much smarter than that, obviously, as she said there. But the point is, like, most people will think that the uniform is bad, but meanwhile, it's not that. It's just a toxic culture that's bad.
mm.
And being around the wrong people mentally, that's bad. Find your
That's
tribe.
that's yeah, that's very true. And you know what it makes me think, because I um I couldn't understand. So for me, what I actually hear you say, it boils down to what are your values. And if those values of you, if you can't express your values, basically, then it's going to be a problem. Or if you can't live out your values. So if a value of you is freedom of expression, you can't do that. So in my case, it was a value of, on the one hand, I want to excel um, in my career, but I also want to be the best mom. So it was two values that clashed. And that for me was a big issue. So for a very long time, I couldn't believe that anyone would want to work for someone. And then much later, I realized, and this is exactly what you said earlier. So for some people, it is perfect to be a business owner or an entrepreneur. But for other people, you just need an environment where you can fully express yourself, like you said. Because I was like always thinking to myself, how can anyone work for a boss? And then I realized, but it is just for me in my situation, I loved my job. Like I really loved what I did. And I had a
Hmm.
lot of
How does
freedom to
Michaela feel about
create.
that?
About what?
I can't understand how people want to work for a boss.
I know, but that's the thing. Like I was feeling so guilty towards my employees. Like I'm
Let's bring
thinking
Michaela
like,
up on the show. Where's Michaela? Come, Michaela. Tell us how you feel.
Michaela, do you want to come in? So I was always thinking, are we going to bring her in to the
Bring her
stage?
in. How's it, Michaela?
Ah, you on mute. Let's just unmute you. Just unmute yourself.
Perfect. So please excuse the looks. I'm the behind the scenes person. And I think for me, that's what I feel value in supporting people. So yeah, I feel like that is my purpose in life. Is not necessarily just to serve others, but I'm very content with where I am, and I'm growing every day because I have quite an awesome boss.
Oh, you have an awesome leader. Correction. You have an awesome leader.
Exactly.
That's the big difference between a boss and a leader.
But
And I think that is what I'm trying to allude to is that when
yeah.
you do work for a boss, yes, life's going to be miserable because you get delegated to do certain shit. But when you're in the right place and you work with people who are actually making you better, lifting you up, teaching you life skills that you appreciate and are fulfilled at doing, and at the same time will help you grow, where else would you want to be? And who knows, maybe in 5 years' time, you're going to feel like you want to act as that leader to other people too. And that's always what I say at V8 is like, this is a place of growth. It doesn't mean that we're all going to remain parallel. Our life paths are going to remain parallel forever. But whilst, I'm in that leadership position and a lot of other people in the company in that leadership position, we need to act as those leaders. And every single person who joins this business or company should grow in some way. And I can honestly say, I can't think that there's anybody who left who hasn't grown in some way. There might be people who did disagree, but that might also just be who their own attitudes. But I can tell you now, out of the people, the last 10, 15, 20 people that we've lost over the last 4 or 5 years, each one has left with tears. Each one has left with, a warm hug and a celebration of sorts, because that is what it's all about. It's helping each other grow. And I think that's how we should look at the businesses that we build, but that's also how we should look at the businesses we join. It depends on where you are on your journey. And it's like finding your tribe, find the people who's going to make you better. And I think Karina said there, she said something about the uniform earlier. So no uniform for me, but meanwhile, she might wear a Nike shirt. And a Nike shirt is a form of, as a uniform in itself, because you're associating with the brand message. You think people at Nike wear other uniforms outside of the Nike brand? No, they probably all wear Nike clothes, and you are wearing the same uniform in some way. So it's understanding that a uniform is only, in my opinion, it's the company's message that you might not be associating yourself with. And I think when you start to think about it like that, life gets a little bit more interesting, because then you ask yourself, who am I and what values do I have, and what labels I'm going to put on my body that expresses who I am. I have a capsule wardrobe. I have no idea what that is, but it sounds cool.
So I'm not going to try and explain it because I'm not that good with explaining things with clothing. I'm not the best. But a
Capsule wardrobe.
capsule is basically like 20 items that you mix and match. Yeah. So thank you so much, Michaela, for that. I think for me, it's such a big discovery point, actually, because I really struggled. I felt so guilty towards anyone working for a boss because I didn't like it. And I had to overcome that. And I actually never really thought about it in this way. But I think I also learned a lot from Michaela, because I was thinking about her and I really realized, but she would much rather be in an environment that is structured, that she doesn't have to go through all the things that I have to go through, you know?
Can I?
And yeah.
Sorry. No. Please continue. I want to get to this question. I was like super
Yeah, no.
excited to talk about
So just understanding that this is, like you say, it's not only for business owners and entrepreneurs, it's also for you in your career.
100%. So this question I love. So Mac Mavis. All right. So he says, hi, if you're a business owner and you have employees, you are the boss. Incorrect. You're wrong. Having products, that is your vision. Sort of right. So how do you live out your vision, dreams, but also give them freedom of expression? So Johan is sitting here, he's doing some filming work, but we had a conversation where he says, like, well, this is my perspective. So please understand that this is something I'm very passionate about. And this is by no means me disagreeing. It's just a perspective on how I see having a business and having to work with people. So when you are the business owner, Magriet says you have employees. In theory, that's correct. But if you're going to see them as employees and you're really going to act in accordance to the fact that they are your employees, you will become a boss. And if you become a boss, that becomes a problem. Because in essence, when you hire someone and you make them part of your business and your family, which your business should be, right? It's like a family, in my opinion. When you make someone part of your family, what do you have to do? Imagine you had a house, you and your wife, and you had one kid, and there was a kid that didn't have a home, and all the legal papers agreed, and it was chosen, and you were very happy to take that kid into your family. How are you going to act towards that kid? You're going to act in a very nurturing way. You're going to make sure that there's a roadmap to growth for that human being. You're going to make sure that you teach him lessons. You're going to make sure that, and that's how I like to look at people who join the business. When we hire someone, it is our responsibility to take care of that person to the best of our potential, to make sure that their payment is never late, to make sure that there's room for bonuses, to make sure that they hopefully incentivized, to make sure that they're fulfilled, to make sure that they're mentally stimulated, to make sure that they're fairly compensated, and then at the same time that they're actually growing as a human being. Because if you can do that, you're building a very healthy family culture where people work stronger together towards a common goal, and everybody wins. The moment you think, I'm going to hire employees and I'm going to act as a boss towards them, tell them what to do, you're always going to be super lonely in what you do. And you're never going to be fulfilled in what you do either. Because trust me, it is not the destination that matters, it's the journey. It really is. Building a business is all about the journey and not the destination. And so many people do it for the destination and not the journey. So many people do it because they think they're going to make a ton of money. And instead of because it's actually fun and creative and a full expression of self. And I think that's the biggest mistake anybody can make. So what I want to say to Mavis, is that you are, in theory, it's a very good question. But the moment you start to look at it from a different perspective, where you are the leader of the household and you're bringing people into your family, and you need to make sure that they're taken care of and that they can grow with you, and that they can, like, my biggest anxiety is not being able to keep people happy. That's literally my biggest anxiety, is like, can I keep everybody happy and fulfilled? And I've come to the conclusion that I can't, but I can do my best. And I can check in and I can make sure that there's always opportunity, and I can just focus on building the business, because the more I do that, the more other opportunities surface, which allows other people to grow and also be fulfilled. And I think not a lot of business owners take on that level of accountability because they think it's about them. My business. I need to feed my family. What about that person who needs to feed their family? So we make business so much about ourselves, and that kind of pisses me off. Like, this has got nothing to do with Mac Mavis now, but that frustrates me when business owners make it all about themselves. You chose this business. You chose this path. But I promise you, if you collectively ask yourself, how can you build a family that moves towards a goal, life won't be that difficult, and you won't be that stressed, and you won't be that anxious. Because guess what? If things go to shit tomorrow, I know I've got 10 people who I can phone at 3 a.m. that will schedule an emergency meeting at 2 o'clock in the morning to fix what we need to fix. And those people would never in their lives have done that if we didn't create what we've created together. So I think the journey becomes very lonely if you think about people as employees and you being a boss. And I think the journey becomes very more fulfilling if you think leader and how can I nurture the family and make sure there's opportunity for everybody and everybody can grow.
Such great advice, really. Wow. Yeah, I think that's okay. We've had that one. Is it the same one?
I think so, yeah. That's just my point of
Yeah.
view. Not a lot of people are going to agree with me. So, and I can completely get that. But that's just my take on it. It's like, I don't want to be a boss, and I don't want to be someone who hires employees. I'd rather then just go do my own thing by myself. It's all about the journey, guys. Trust me, it's all about the flipping journey. You're not taking, first of all, last thing, we are, God willing, going to be here till we're 90, right? So what the fuck is the rush? Where are we rushing to?
Oh, yes.
And then, and at the same time, you're not going to take anything with you when you die. So why are you trying to accumulate as much as possible? So it's like, we're going to be here till we're 90, so there's no rush. And at the same time, we're not taking anything with us. No one is. So why do you want to accumulate? So just focus on the journey and help as many people along the way. Because when you're 90 years old, lying in your sick bed, that's what you're going to remember. The people whose lives you impacted, the memories you've made with those people. And that's what I'm thinking is like, I ask myself, is this going to be one of those memories I reflect back on when I'm 90, busy saying my goodbyes? And that's what I'm trying to do, is literally just build those memories with people I care about towards a common goal that serves not just myself, but a lot of other people.
And that is such good advice. And it actually comes back to the overwhelm that we spoke about in the beginning. So if you empower people to actually take ownership of their jobs, not only being employees, that is going to make your life so much easier. And I know something that I struggle with is you know that thing like you take on stuff and then you kind of overwhelmed in your business and you just do it yourself. You maybe give it to someone and they don't do it the way you do it, and then you say, I'll just do it myself. And I think a lot of specifically entrepreneurs, people starting out, are very much in this mindset like, no one can do it as good as I. I'm just going to do it myself. But then going over to that business owner versus entrepreneur kind of mindset that you talk a lot about, of giving people responsibilities, empowering them to actually take responsibility about their job. And it's almost very much with raising kids as well. If you do everything for your child and you don't empower them, they just become dependent on you and you feel like a worn out mom. So yeah, that is really something to strive to. I think for me, we don't have that many people in our business yet, like you. So I think it's really great advice.
Look, it's not perfect advice, but I think that's just ROI positive. And funny enough, remember, you attract what you vibrate. So if you're someone who is insecure, full of fear and anxiety, you're going to attract people into your life, into your business, that's going to feel the exact same way. And that becomes a problem. So this is why you have to work on yourself first. Fix yourself before you fix your business. And change the way you look at building a business. Like, fall in love with the process. And I mean, I think Gary Vee speaks about this kind of stuff all the time. And that's the biggest lesson I've learned. I think I stopped following his content about 3 or 4 years ago because I kind of like got the message that I needed. But he still pops up every now and then, and it's still the same message. And it's like, act out of love, act out of gratitude, and focus on the journey, fall in love with the process, do shit that excites you, and add value to people around you and watch them grow, because that's so fulfilling. And in a sense, it's ROI positive, not just for the business, but for everybody involved. So I think that's really what it boils down to, is business owners do get very selfish because they think about themselves and their family only and nobody else. And it's all about, how much can I make? How much can I take home? How does it affect my status? How is people going to look at me when I do, buy this and get that? And I think that's just a very old mentality. And, we move into a completely different, I'd say, generational shift of perspectives of thinking. And like, we can see that we're moving towards more holistic, what is the word? Not like, but like just more love and gratitude. And that's at least the reality that I'm experiencing. Like, I know there's a lot of negative shit too, but that's what I choose to focus on. And I think I was having a conversation with someone, yesterday, it was a coaching call, and they were hiring people. And I said, if you're hiring the right people, you can just give them the goal and get out of the way.
Absolutely.
Like, the problem is we hire people and then we tell them what to do. So it depends obviously on what kind of business you run, because yes, there are businesses out there and the skill required might be associated with, a type of person who you're going to have to give direction to, and that's fine. But on some level, it's about hiring someone who, if you're hiring the right people, hopefully you can just give them the goal and then get out of the way and help them achieve the goal and go. Because he was like, how do I manage my team and micromanage them because they're not getting shit right? And I was like, what you should do is, when you've hired someone, ask them, listen, here's the goal. What do you need from me to achieve it?
So good. Yeah.
And that's it.
Amazing.
And just go, this is the North Star. Here's what we want to do. If you had to hire, for example, a CMO for your business, a chief marketing officer, you would say, hey, here's my goal. I now want 5,000 people on my webinar a month. And I want this and I want that. These are the goals. You come back to me and tell me what you need. Tell me what you need in terms of budget. Tell me what you need in terms of tools and softwares. Tell me what you need in terms of time to make this happen. Tell me what you need. And then also ask any questions from my side. If there's any way I can add value, let me know. If you're stuck, let me know. Let me try and help you where I can. And I think that's how we should be having conversations with the people that we include into our family, aka business. And I think you will then give people the freedom to express themselves too, because that's the problem. Why most people quit jobs and start their own thing, because they're working for bosses. They're working for people who are selfish and people who are not necessarily there to take care and care about everybody else. So
and that is the thing. Yeah. They are the ones that take care of your customers. And that is the number one way to take care of your customers, is through your employees. And it actually, yesterday I had such a bad experience. I took my dog to a vet, and I took my little daughter with me because she wants to become a vet one day. She loves animals. But just everything from when we got in there, shame, the receptionist was really nice, but the vet that saw us, you could see he is so not happy. Like, he is literally just an employee. I actually came back and I told my husband, you know what? I really did not enjoy the consultation. It cost me more than 1,000 rand because she had to get her injections and things. But that would have been fine because I wanted to take my daughter there, that she experienced it. But the person that helped me, the vet, just had no enthusiasm, had no joy for my little cute doggy that is that is everything in our house. And that is, I told them, they must have such a toxic company culture, because you can feel it. And that is the problem, because the people that's going to be working with your employees are those people. And they have to, if they not bought into your vision or feel empowered, that that is the message that people are going to get. Like, I'm literally thinking, I was thinking about it yesterday. I do not want to go back there. I don't want to. It wasn't a nice experience. And to me, it was absolutely, they must have a toxic company culture.
Yeah, most likely. But that's the thing, is like, if you think about it more philosophically, all those people are probably vibrating together. That's why they ended up together energetically.
That's so true. Yeah,
So it's like,
probably.
you'll find that, you're quite vibrant, warm, loving, joyous, fun, whatever. And I think that's also, if you look at reflect your business represents that, because that's who you are. And then your first 10 people, are usually going to start creating that culture around the business. So the moment you expand into a bigger team, hopefully, that core essence doesn't go away, because of the fact that, and it does dilute to some extent, but that's why it's so important to bring the right people on board and attract the right people. But it starts with you, because as within, so without. The energy that you put out, that's the energy that you're going to get back. And that is, a lot of people might not agree with that, but then I would just, tell them to go read the Bible if they want to, or really understand how the universe works and how energy works. It's like, everything is energy. And when you start to fix your own energy, you can start to fix the business's energy. And this is a conversation for another time, but your business is an energy entity in itself. And so people don't understand, is like, you as Magriet, you have energy, and then all the energy that you put into the business, that creates its own energy. And because we live in a life where everything is energy. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is like, for the first 3 years, we struggled to find good people. We really struggled. It was so hard. And then I realized it was my own limiting belief. I was the one thinking that it's hard to find people. I was the one thinking that there's not a lot of people who think the way we think. I was thinking, and funny enough, in 2021, when we really started taking off, all of a sudden, good people just came along. And if I have to look at what happened, is 2021, I took magic mushrooms for the first time. And did I not tell you the story?
No,
Let me tell
you
you, I'll tell you the full story when we'll have a conversation on it. That is life-changing, man. And that was the most interest, but I took it for specific, spiritual purposes. I didn't take it to just have fun. I literally put my noise cancellation headphones on and put my blindfold on, and I was gone for 6 hours. And I was in my own subconscious mind. And I could feel the energy of source, God, call it what you want. And I could feel having conversations, how those conversations went. And that's when I realized everything is energy. And at the same time, when I fixed my own energy, everything else just fell into place. And don't get me wrong, the company is not perfect, but it is what it is, and it is what it needs to be. And I flow, and I'm grateful for whatever is unfolding. And I keep myself, my energetic state, pure and honest and authentic and full of love and excitement and joy. And I think if you can focus on those things, essentially you'll start to see it manifesting into your own reality. The right people will come. The right opportunities will come. And we call it miracles and godsend, and you can call it what you want. But the basic principle, the math, the formula is your own energy is affecting what you're experiencing around you. So fix that first, and then you see how everything else will start to fall into place.
Oh, what a great start to the season. I think this is exactly, loving the conversation. Yeah, this is exactly what we need now, is just to really go back, become conscious of what we are spending our energy and time on, and going into an attracting mindset rather than a chasing mindset. And I'm so happy we spoke about this, because this time of year, we would think, we have to speak sales and all of those things. But all of those things cannot happen if you are not in the right mind space. Or it can happen, but it's going to blow up somewhere or lead to more unhappiness in the end.
100%.
Ja, so thanks so much. Alice,
Thank
dankie
you,
aan
man.
jy ons het nodig gehad. Yeah, that was great. Thank you everyone who joined. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead. Lots of sales, but lots of consciousness and stillness as well. Like you always say, Jandre, peaceful profits.
Peaceful profits. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Great. Thanks so much. Bye, everyone.
Cheers, guys.